Morning, and thanks for the opportunity to welcome you back to present at the 2021 12 Tech Forum. My name is Michael Connor, and I'll be talking today about uniform coding within the industry, mainly in New South Wales, and the work that the steering group we formed, the Transport for New South Wales steering group we formed, and how they're driving standardisation across the industry with respect to uniform coding and management techniques. A bit of background about myself. As if from the outset, Michael Connor. So I'm the regional survey manager for Fulton Hogan. Been with Fulton Hogan close to 8 years now. Spent 10 years with CPB or Leighton Contractors, as they were previously known. With Fulton Hogan, been working with the industry in the business for, as I said, for 8 years. Been up and down the coast on various civil infrastructure projects. Currently working on a few rail jobs here in Sydney. So background is quite heavily rail with Leighton's, but I've been working on a few of the highways up and down the coast with Fulton Hogan. So I guess today I sort of wanted to talk to you about, as I said, the engineering steering group that we created following on from the 2018 Tech Forum. There was a real desire to standardise the way we manage our utilities within the industry. And I guess off the back of that and the Australian Standard Subsurface Utility Management Guidelines release back in 2019 or 2020, it was 2019, we started pulling all of that together to align how we manage our services, making them consistent with what the Australian Standard sets out, but also making sure that our feature naming conventions are maintained within the RMS guidelines. So we pulled together a lot of the utilities teams within the RMS space. Noel Brady, Gordon Bell, Gabby Van Wyck was the chair with his help through the Survey Spatial Science Institute. So I want to thank them for facilitating our sessions, and it was really great. We looked to definitely kick things off again once COVID blows over to newer, bigger and better things. Graham Worth and Mark Ferguson from 12D and XDS were also involved to sort of ensure we align, both entities as to how we're managing all our services. So I guess the question why we want to align how we manage utilities to ensure we provide our teams with a consistent framework for delivery, applying principles from guidelines which will improve critical items of time, cost, safety, and risk across our portfolio. I guess to do this, we need a collective contribution from across each respective construction team. For reliable information, I guess we need to make sure our teams are aware of the standard guidelines and requirements as to exactly how we manage our utilities, and obviously it's the old adage, shit in, shit out. So if we can align our teams as to how we need to manage our utilities, then we can certainly capture some really good, rich data. So I guess aligning with Australian Standard, you would have all seen the quality levels. Different departments probably have different categories, different ways they manage it, but we've aligned ours with how the Australian Standard sets forth their guidelines. So QLA through to D, obviously A being the highest, D being the lowest. So obviously quality level D is sort of sourced through anecdotal evidence, GIS databases, engineering markups, double 40 digs. Quality level C is, I guess, interpolated information that may, obviously I'm keeping this quite high level. I'm not going to get too technical with all this stuff, but C is generally sort of interpolated between whether two potholes or some located quality level B data. Quality level B is electronic detection, GPR, scanning that doesn't meet the quality level A requirements. And then A is obviously positively identifying, so potholing, open trench pickups, and physical siting of the service. That'll constitute a quality level A. So obviously the quality standards will vary on separate sections of a single string depending on the source of information available. It's pretty obvious. You may only be able to have B in certain sections, potholes in certain locations, C you might use to join two potholes, and outside of that you might have just D, some double void dig data that you've digitised. So obviously for quality level A, the following information should be captured. Obviously the measurements should be taken from the top of the exposed surface, spec of conduits, the widths, if there's any existing protective coverings, obviously this needs to be picked up. Protection officers or asset owners might be at hand to help you identify the owners of this data. And also you've got obviously other specific attribute data like type, material, size, owner, and status that you need to populate as well. So we took those requirements and we integrated them into uniform coding and utility management strategies within 12D field. We maintained our coding, the RMS feature naming coding, and then we populated the attributes through this 12D field codes function within 12D field, which enables the attributes to be captured at the time of survey. This is also consistent with what G71 is asking for at the moment. They're asking for quite a bit of this information, so we're satisfying those requirements as well. Some of this information obviously can't be captured at the point of survey because you may not know some of this information. If you're scanning a surface, you may not necessarily know the material or the owner. So some of these attributes you can make mandatory or optional for that reason.
So as you can see, once we have the 12D field codes editor set up and ready to go, we're ready to take it out onto site. Once you get out onto site and you go through the 12D field setup routine, you jump into the 12D survey data reduction panel to set up your 12D pickup model, and you give it a function name, you define the attribute definition file, which is your 12D field codes. You can also define the default model it'll go to, map file if you want it to be mapped as you go. It's all user definable. It's a text file, so you can jump in there and set the panel up yourself through your user libraries, and then you create those. You execute that, run it, and then basically it takes you into the 12D field SDR pickup function, in which you have the ability to then commence starting your survey pickups. So you may have seen this demonstration by Graham Worth, but simplistically it's just the CD is your code button. You hit that button there, you select your code, which is defined under each category and subcategory, and you hit your MS or MR for measure store, measure record. It'll bring up you select your code first, and then it'll continue on, and then it'll then allow you to store your shots and prompt you to populate the attributes that you defined through the 12D field codes editor. And some of these, as I said, are mandatory, some are optional. Some attributes you cannot pick up out on site when you're out on site. I won't go into the technicalities, but you may have a scanned service with only the type of service that is comms, electrical, so forth, identifiable through that method. So that's all you can actually populate at that time. So there's no point making something mandatory if you actually don't have the information to store. So obviously the best bet is to have as many resources at your disposal as you can, so you can populate this panel with as much information as possible. So as I said, you've got the defaults there, makes things nice and easy. There are a lot of attributes, which are stipulated by the client or your firm. Try to make as many default as you can to try and speed things up, because you don't want to be standing there for too long trying to pre-populate. There is an option there. You can actually hit store information previously, from the previous shot. So you can hit there's a button when you hit MS measure store. It'll prompt you for last, which is just down here. It'll then populate the information as you picked up on the previous shot, which makes things nice and easy. So if you're picking up a string of shots along the one service, it works as X. You don't want to be standing there at each shot populating this information. You can just hit last and it'll actually populate everything that was previously entered. The other thing we've been working on is formalising the way we capture rail codes off the back of a lot of rail infrastructure projects kicking off in and around the Sydney area. You may be familiar with the DSS code library, which is here, which is within the Rail Corp and ARTC Sydney spec guidelines. There have been previous map files created in the past, various jobs in Sydney. Nothing really has been done in the 12V field codes space, so we've been working to consolidate all this information, all these codes into the one 12V field codes library. It's a different sort of code list, so you'll have all the string names, 1 through to 100 or so, the internal DSS rail codes, and then the attributes again under each code, which set out exactly which attribute you need to pick up. In this case, it's material, justification, and pipe diameter, which at the moment is what the asset owner is requesting for all service pickups. So this works quite well. It is a different code library. A signal, they're not divided up into signal, well, they're obviously signals and comms, but the service type is then broken down into subcategories. So 1 through to 4, for example, is a signal code. 1 being signal code and a direct buried service. 2 being a signal code and it's direct buried. 3 is signal code, galvanised steel trough. I might have got those around the wrong order, but that's pretty much the theme right through the series of utilities within the DSS. So got the DSS integrated into the 12V field codes library, and that seems to be working quite well. And then it's got its own map file to go with it as well. So in a similar way that the RMS customization works, this map file also will look for the attributes that have been previously picked up by the surveyor and assign the piping and justification according to what attribute was captured out on site. The next challenge for us, I guess, going forward is how we present this to our construction teams. And there's many ways that we've been looking at in the past. We've got our typical live service drawings, which are pumped out from the office out to the site teams for their permits and things, which have all the line styles there. But it's pretty limited in that it only shows the line style, whether it's a QLA through to D and a C or an E for comms, electrical, so forth. But we're really trying to pump this information out to the guys on site with all the metadata attached to it. So there's ways we can do that, and some of the ways we've been doing it, and many firms do it probably a little bit differently, is that we've got to create an attribute manipulator to push all the attributes which are currently sitting on the vertex onto the string. Pretty simple attribute manipulator to create. There's all different types of versions of them for doing different functions, but this is a good way, or the only way really, to put it out to some sort of GIS platform. So the run the manipulator takes the attributes from the vertex out onto the string, which then allows you to then push it out to whatever GIS database you're using. Something very basic, a KML file. If you write out this data set out to Google Earth with the attribute manipulator, having already been run over this data, you can click on each string and it'll show you the attributes on the string for you on the screen. The other way we're working on at the moment is IFCs, passing through FME, program that needs to be passed through to get into ArcGIS. So all these attributes are pushed out with the IFC after an attribute manipulator has been run through it. And then you can, obviously it's a lot more robust platform to use, and you can see the end result there. You can label and symbolize all the data as you see fit and as required by site. So in a very similar way, we've got live service drawings showing the type of service, whether it's water, comms, electrical, or sewer, and the quality level. We've done the same thing here. It's very simple to manipulate and use. It's very user friendly. It's just getting the right workflow through FME to be able to create that information. So I guess at the end of the day, really trying to sort of empower and give our guys on the side a bit more accountability, not passing the buck, but just really trying to share as much information as we can with our site team so that we can minimise the amount of risk and damage and cost associated with utility management. So done a fair bit of work in the utility space in the last couple of years. So credit to the engineering steering group for coming together and work with us on this journey. I guess there's much more work to be done, and look forward to sharing a bit more information with you as we develop, and we'll certainly involve as many as we can to try and get everyone together on the same path and collaborate as best we can to deliver a good workflow and management system for our utilities. So thanks again, and talk soon.